What's going on, everyone? We are live. Welcome back. Welcome to the Unconventional Mindset. My name's Odum. Happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to episode number 203, which is crazy. Crazy. And what are we doing today? We are continuing on building Webflow components for our component library, which is what we're building, and that's kind of the product that we're making. We're building Webflow templates and components to, sell them and basically create a membership site for people that want access to these things. And why are we doing this? Because we want to build a company that's going to help us generate $1 million in revenue every single year. Like I said, we're 10% there, and that's enough of an intro. Let's get right into it. And where we left off yesterday, we built our second accordion menu. Oops. I just want to zoom in a little bit here. And the way that we have our two accordions, we have one here that's based on the drop-down component that is native to Webflow. And then we have our second one, which is our custom accordion, which, isn't a native pre-built component, but it's just not based on the drop-down. The only problem with this one is without using JavaScript, we can't get it to close on second click. Otherwise, the interactions cause all kinds of issues. Now, why would you want to use this one over this one? I'm not sure. This one, I think what we're saying here, what were we saying? Right. The heights of the actual drop-down toggle here has to be set in the interactions panel and in the style panel. So that's kind of annoying. So this kind of gets around that, or this section will grow as the length of the question or whatever content is put in here. So, and I think we'll probably get some JavaScript going on in here too with this component. Anyways, with that being said, that's the accordion, or those are the accordions. And we're going to move on to a hero section today. So let's just take a quick look for what we already have. We have basic navigations, and I think I need to update these as well too, because of how the drop downs are. I don't think I'm particularly happy with them, but we can go over that later. The footer sections, these are the footer sections. And again, there's issues as well too, is do we need all these three different footer types, or can we make do with just having one and having all the different stuff that you would put inside of a footer in there, so you can kind of rearrange them as you see fit. And we have, what else do we have? And then a blog layout here as well. So you can go ahead and create your blog section. Howdy. How you doing, Kevin? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. And things are going well with you. Things are going well over here. We're plugging away. We're getting at it, getting closer and closer to getting ready to deploy this thing. We got a deadline. The deadline, it's got to be by Christmas, or maybe by the end of the year, I guess. So, right, blog and then the accordion. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to do our, what's it called? We want to do a hero section. And what we're going to do with this one is we're going to make it a full screen, or maybe above the fold, the full viewport. And we can have it with a background with an image or a video. And then we're going to put all the different elements that you normally would see in a hero section, which is typically a large header or heading with a subtitle. And then you can have a couple buttons for your call to actions usually it's just a subscribe form for someone to, subscribe or whatever the case may be. So let's do that by, basically let's create a new page, and let's create from the accordion. Right here, duplicate, and we're going to call this, I guess it's a hero section. I don't know if that's the right term for this. That's okay. I'm not duplicating, am I? Cancel this. I'm changing the name of the accordion page. I don't want to do that. Let's duplicate. There we go. hero. Well, we'll call it this for now, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so this one's going to be completely different than what we have here. So delete that accordion, delete this. We're pretty much going to have to delete, I mean, everything. Like, it's not even going to have, it's not going to have any padding. Well, I guess maybe the content itself will. Okay, so let's delete this and let's go section hero, I guess. One thing that I noticed, just as an aside, I was practicing doing some copying and pasting of these components into a blank Webflow project. And I was having some issues where the animations were not copying correctly. And I don't know if that's because I was using the same account and using the same browser window, or not the same browser window, but the same browser with different tabs, navigating in a different, like each tab had a different instance of Webflow running. And if it's under the same account, I wonder if there could be issues with that. I'm hoping that's the case, because otherwise when you're copying and pasting something, and if the animations or interactions are not copying over correctly, then we're going to have huge problems. So, I mean, not everything's going to have an interaction, of course. But I wonder too if other component libraries don't really have interactions with their components. I don't know. This is where I might do well to pay for some memberships to a couple of the component libraries that are out there, just to kind of see how they handle some of these use cases. Okay, so this section hero, we want to, I think basically, we'll start with this one, with the container. I guess we'll just call it hero. Do we want to just call it hero? Yeah, because I think that's what we were doing with naming everything, where it was just the main item. Yeah, it's like accordion 1. And then if we go to navigation, it was just like navbar 1. Yeah, which again, I still hate that name. I know we came up with something. I can't remember what it was going to be. Something with Piixel, I think. Kevin, I think you came up with something pretty clever. I must have written it down somewhere. Okay, so we'll just call that hero. And what we're going to do with this hero is, I guess we are just going to, are we just going to make it 100 and 100? Or do we want something? Yeah, Navi. You know what? Did I say this the first time? But the thing that pops into my mind right now is the Navi from Avatar. I think that's how you spell it too, except it has an apostrophe. So I don't know if I want that association, you know, with a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Gives me an idea for the logo as well, with the 2 eyes and things that we could potentially do with that. Anyways, one thing at a time. Okay, so we make it 100. Actually, we just do 100%. That's better. I like that better. And height 100 VH. And we also want to have, we don't want to bookmark that, undo that, remove. We want to add a background video. So hero underscore background video. And so this one as well, we have to watch out for the right, what's it called, aspect ratio. And we should actually also, where do we get the video? We have to upload a video. Now I think I do have some demo videos here. So let's see what I can do. What would it be? Maybe it'd be in here. I don't know where I would have put it. I'm just trying to think of a video that I know that I put together for a client, specifically for this purpose. But I don't know where I put it. Stock videography. No, it's not going to be there. Video, not in video. Maybe it's in design. Just assets. No. Shoot, it's gone. What is the site where you can download stock video? Free stock video. Pixabay. Yeah, I think this is one. Okay. So let's get something nice and soothing. Or something with not too much contrast. Pixels, is that another one? This is Pixabay. Yeah, I think it is. Pixels. That sounds familiar. Stock photo, and then they also have videos. Cool, cool. Nice. Yeah, this one too. Yeah. Let's find. What was I saying? Something with not too much contrast, so it'll obviously look good as a background. To have text over. I mean, a snail. Oh, he's going so slow. Could have a little matrix theme going on. Oh man, I'm going to be like way too picky for this. Nope. Okay. All right, let's do this one. Kind of a nice muted blue color. Okay, so what do we do? Download. 3 megs, perfect. We don't need anything big. No, let's do this. So at least it'll look. Okay, mountains, whatever. Save that. And we're actually, let's open this up. And let's go into Webflow, upload video in downloads, and it's called Mountains. Just renamed it. Okay, I don't like the play pause button, so let's get rid of that. We do want to autoplay. We do want to have a video. Or sorry, we want to loop it. And so, but what we want to do as well is we definitely need it to, span the whole size, right? So part of me is thinking that we position it absolute. So then we could hopefully make it go 100 VH. But is it going to keep the aspect ratio? Well, let's just see what happens. So no, that's not going to work. So how do we do this? Let me think. And all we have here is this. So I think if we do, if we make it 100%, is that changing the aspect ratio? It's not. So I don't think. Or is it? It's hard to tell. Is that stretching it? I don't think so. So can we... Okay. I think... Whoop. Let's grab this. No, it's good. No, it's working perfectly. I think. It looks to be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was easy. All right. So we have our background video, but what we probably also want to do, again, this is where it gets a little tough because you don't know what people are going to do in terms of the video or whatever, but I think this is important. We're going to put a background and we're just going to, I think we're just going to do a very simple black overlay. And how transparent should we make it? Even 0.5 is good. Makes it a little bit darker. Okay. So we have that. So now let's go in here and right. So should we align everything in the middle? I think we should. So let's throw everything here in this hero part. Well, not within the video, outside of the video. Ooh, right. I think the video actually needs to stay completely underneath. Or we can keep it up top, and what we can just do is we can just take a look at the Z index. And where are we? And just make that -1. Oh, right. Then the overlay doesn't work. But then if we go over top here. Oh. So do we need an overlay? Right, so it's putting that index as well on the actual overlay, which is really kind of annoying. I don't know why it's doing that. And then, of course, if that's over top, then because... so maybe an overlay that's transparent but present so it can be updated for different use cases. Yeah, no, 100%. It's definitely needs to be, we need to have it so that the user can update it easily. But I don't know, even if you're going over here, I don't even know if this is the right way to put it, or the right place to put it. Because maybe what we'll do is, instead of putting it on here, we're actually, hang on, I'm messing around with this stuff here. If we actually create it, what the hell? If we go Control-Alt-G, no, that's not what we want. What is it? Control-E. There we go. Oh, wait, am I not? There we go. Control-E. Let's create a new div. Not inside. Right here. And we're also going to take this one, and we are going to position it absolutely. Where are you? There it is. Absolute. And then you're going to span everything. And then this is going to be, actually, let's rename this. This will be the hero background overlay. I think that'll be a little bit more intuitive for people to be able to edit and update. What are we going to do? What are we looking for? We're looking for color. So, I mean, actually, no, we don't do a variable. Let's just make it, let's just pick it here, pick it black, and give it like a 50% opacity. Okay. So, but here's the thing where I'm not understanding, because this overlay here is positioned below all of this content in the HTML. So this stuff, from my understanding, should be positioned above it. Maybe because it's actually in there. No, that doesn't matter either. So I'm not sure why this one, basically why this is dimming this thing. Unless I'm just going to have to play around with the Z-index for everything, where this one, you know, is going to have to be like a -5, and this one here is going to have to be maybe a -1. And then that brings everything else to the forefront. So we'll do that for now, which I think will be fine. And I don't think anybody's really going to be tripping up over that. And then the last question that I have is, where do we position this content here? Do we position it all smack dab in the middle of the viewport, which is something that a lot of people do, but a lot of people also just lay it up a certain height down from the bottom where that's fixed, you know, whether that's, you know, 200 pixels or whatever. So I think there's different things that we can do for this. So maybe what we'll do first is we'll just lay out the actual content, and then we'll figure out where would be the best place to position this so people can understand what they can do with it. And if we need to change it, then we change it, right? No big deal. Okay. So pixel component description. So this is a hero section with a video background. I should say, you know, no audio. Okay. Right. That's even just, I don't even know if we'll even keep this here because it kind of makes it look a little stupid. But anyways, that's okay. All right. So what are we going to do? We're going to go, I think we're going to go right in here into this padding section. And this is where we're going to start to create our hero. Should be content or container? No, I think we'll call it content for now. And if we need to have a container above that to help with positioning, then we'll wrap it up. So let's get our heading. This is a hero section with a title. Pretty straightforward. Text block, and this is a no more. Let's try to get some different text. Subtitle for this section will go here, but this can also be seen as an introductory text to whatever, like, to whatever you want to say. Like whatever. Okay. I know all the coloring and everything looks horrible. We'll get to that. Hero content, heading, text block. And I guess we want some call to action buttons, and then we want a subscribe form. And again, the thought process here is to put everything that people would probably want to have in a hero section. And then when they cut and paste this component, they can just easily remove whatever it is that they don't want from it. Because chances are you're probably not going to want a subscribe form alongside call to action buttons, generally speaking. So if we go button, whatever, let's just call this call to action. And we'll call this, I guess, button. And this we'll call button group. And we're going to copy, not the whole thing, just this button. And we are going to give this is secondary. Maybe not even secondary. Just reverse, I think is what it is. Yes. Secondary action. And then maybe we'll call this primary action. Or maybe we'll just call them button anyways at the end of the day, because they're just buttons. Then we have to put in a subscribe form. Now the question is, I feel like I have it on my list. Actually, I wrote a list of all the different components that I have yet to build. And forms are part of that. Kind of basically like a contact form and also a subscribe form. So I think that should almost be its own component that can be put in here. So maybe this will be like a two birds with one stone thing where I can put in here. We could just call this subscribe form. And there's generally two I would say 90%, maybe 90, even 95% of all subscribe forms when you're subscribing to a newsletter. It'll usually just take either the email or first name and email, or it could even just be name and email. So I think for this one, for our generic subscribe form, we'll have it with a field for first name and a field for, maybe we'll do 3 fields actually, because I think by default, MailChimp, when they have their form, it's first name, last name, and email address. Those are the forms that come by default. What about the other ones? Let's look at, is it ConvertKit? Do they have their like sample features? Let's look at some forms. Do they have some forms? So just your email, first name, email address, or email. Oh, just some more, just data, I guess, which is fine. First name, email address. Yeah. Again, these are all just samples. At least it looks like it's samples that they have. Landing pages. First name, email address. First name, email address. Then a different tag, shirt. Yeah, so I think, and this is MailChimp forms. I don't want to see the form builder. Man, I remember when MailChimp was like a small startup company, I think out of Atlanta. It's just they've grown so much. And they, of course, obviously purchased or bought out by Intuit, which is crazy. Now they do so much more. I do so much more. I'm confused now when I go to their website. Yeah, I can't even navigate through that thing. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I think we're good. I think we'll do first name and email address. I think most people are not going to be collecting last name. Oh, look at this. Yeah. And then these guys just kind of do this by default in Webflow to just have your first name and email address. Okay. So now forms. So we already have our default what am I thinking? Client first for forms. So let me take a look at our style guide because I can't quite remember what it is. And maybe I can just cut and paste this form from, where is it? All right, from here. Actually, it's not so bad. Okay, let me. All right, I just never remember what the classes are. Okay. That's easy enough to remember. Let's put this in. Okay, let's save that. All right. Let's go back to our hero section. So the class for this is called form underscore component. This is where I have to be careful because the style guide is also in this project. So I can't make any updates to these within here. Otherwise, it's going to update the actual, like, it's going to update the styles on the, basically, the client first variables on the style guide. We don't want to do that. So we're going to need to be careful. So basically, these guys are wrapped around, oh, get out of there, are wrapped around a div block. And it's called form underscore field wrapper. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing for this one. Control enter, form underscore field dash wrapper. Whoop. And this here is going to be called form label. And then this guy is called form underscore input. And how do I move down? Oh, there we go. Keep moving down. Control enter. Form label. Man, learning this shortcut keys in Webflow is like such a huge time saver. And I got to do better. I want to learn like all the shortcut keys so I can navigate within the whole interface like without using my mouse. That would be like boss level. Okay. And so this, we're going to call it subscribe. And of course, it's going to be button. Okay, now for the actual settings of the form itself. What should we call it? I think, probably something a little bit descriptive, like hero subscribe form. So that would be pretty self-explanatory because it explains where it is and what it is. And then for the actual inputs, this is where I'm not sure. So the name, obviously this is going to be like first name, but should we do something like, what do I call it? Like hero, like subscribe form. Oh my goodness. And then name. That seems rather clunky. Or should we stick to using camel case? Or, well, not using camel case, we're using, I can't even remember what it's called. But anyway, just go like this, right? Hero, subscribe, spell, hero subscribe form. And then label, we go here, subscribe form, like underscore name, right? And then here, hero subscribe form underscore email. And then we'll just give that as the ID. And then, okay, that ID changed here up to, good. And then this ID here for the form. Okay. What else are we missing? Just say first name. Right. So now I want to do some now I want to do some styling on this form, and I can't, right? Because I can't screw up the style sheet. So what can we do? I mean, I could throw a secondary class on here. Okay, don't overthink this. All right, one thing that I want to do here, let's just hide that for a second. And I mean, with our hero content, I think we definitely want to center things. So if we go here, and I think, do we have an aligned center? Oh, that's not right. Do I have? So do we not have a utility class that centers everything? Do we not have? Do we not have? I got to look at the classes again, see what we have. Subham, is that how you pronounce your name? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. Sorry, but what are you trying to figure out? I want to try to. basically what I'm trying to figure out is, I mean, I know exactly how to do it, so it's not like I'm struggling to figure out how it's done, but I just want to lay out this form here basically almost in like a 3-column layout. Like I want this first name and then email and the subscribe button all to be on, you know, just aligned horizontally, not stacked vertically. So the thing that I'm hesitant of doing is I just don't want to apply those styling to this form, right? Like I don't want to just go right here, flex this, and away we go. Because what I've done is I've cut and paste this component, or at least the styles, from the style sheet, which is right here. And this is a generic style sheet that I made using client first principles, where it basically defines a global set of styles for every project. And if I update the CSS to one of these main structures, then it's going to update the style guide as well too, which I don't want to do. So that's just what I'm just in my head, just trying to kind of figure out how to style it the way I want to for this component, but yet while not modifying the base structure of the style guide. I hope that explains it. Right. Okay. So let's go back to here, this hero section. But anyways, nice to have you here though. And welcome, welcome. It's always nice to hear from you guys. So I really appreciate all the comments. What was I looking for? Oh, right. The style guide. So I know, let's go to the dashboard here for a second. Let's look at our projects. I know we have the style guide. I'm pretty sure we had published this, haven't we? We never published this? Damn. I could have sworn that I had. What has been published? This one has, maybe. If I go here, what do we have? Is there not? I think there's this. Okay, so at least we can go back here and take a look at things. What was I looking at? The forms. Forms there. Oh, right. I was thinking about a utility class that centers everything within it. And we don't have that utility class. We have, okay. I thought we did. Align center. Right. That just aligns. But so that's not working though for here because that's aligning. Why is that not working? So if I do this class, align center, what is it doing? Oh, it's just aligning center to the whole thing, not the actual content within it. So, I mean, so then I could just do something like is centered. At least I'll do that for now. And then I could just easily go like this, but then it's also not going to be aligning the button group. And so then instead of doing that, then maybe I can just flex it like this and I flex it vertically and then I could align it in the middle. That always works. So we have that. And then what we could also do is we also do some good spacing here. What can we do here with the buttons? Let's give this some padding, and let's say small here. Actually, that's even too much. Padding, small, extra small, and text. Padding bottom again, and padding, I don't know, let's say we want a little bit more space. That's even, so maybe padding large. Something like that for a hero section. And I think we can go maybe it makes sense to do 2 different hero sections or multiple hero sections and not try to cram everything in one, because then it maybe just looks off a little bit. And of course the colors are still off, guys. Don't worry. We'll fix that. And okay. Because in this here we'll put in probably a text. Okay. So enter your name and email below to subscribe to our world famous newsletter, delivered straight to your inbox every whatever. And then we can call this subscribe form. What can we call this? Just text. Or text or intro. Or even like a heading. Should this be a heading? It depends. Depends on the structure of the person's content. And depends on how they want to use it. Yeah, so let's maybe leave it as text for now. Okay, right. And here we are again with this form component. So actually the only class we have here, or the only thing that this form component is doing, is giving it a margin of 0 at the bottom. So should we rename this? Should we call this form underscore or hang on. This is the form. This is subscribe form. Okay, hang on a second. What was it before? It's form component. Okay, so maybe we'll just do form subscribe. And then this one I'm going to rename to form underscore subscribe. That's the container. Okay. Okay, form underscore subscribe. Okay, so then this one, what we can do, actually, this is where we need to, this is where we need to do the layout stuff. Not on this one. Shit. How to play this one? And this form, it has no styling associated with it. Because I mean, if I just delete that, there's nothing. So let's put that to form component, and let's do this with form, and then we'll do this one as form subscribe. And then this one, I think we can, do we want to flex it or do we want to grid? Either way, we still have to deal with the height of the actual button. And I feel like, I mean, for a hero section, it's kind of nice if it covers the whole, like the whole screen, like 100%, right? So let's edit this. Get rid of this one. Let's get our gap to be something, well, I mean, let's put it in relative units, which is what we always work in. And actually, we want to align everything to the bottom. And these guys have margins on the bottom. And I wonder, do we have a margin 0, which I think we can add that. Margin 0. And then the last thing we want to do is we need to make sure that our button is the same height as our form input. So we got a minimum height here of 2 REMs. And I wonder if this button, if we do the same thing, and what can we do with this one? Should we do subscribe button or maybe something like form underscore subscribe button? That might be a little bit clunky. And we set a height. And what was it? I think our site was medium. I don't know, it was large, I do believe. Okay, but that's also clunky because of the padding. What's going to be the best way to do this? And do these guys have padding, or do these guys have border? Has no border. Oh no, it does have border. This is a little bit clunky when you're working with forms that have some things that are predefined in the style guide, but then when you actually want to use them, you either have to start doing combo classes or wrap them around in another div to just access it that way, which is kind of clunky. I don't like it. But I don't know what to do about it yet. I don't know how we can make it work. And again, what's in my mind is I'm just really trying to make sure that when I'm working on this, that I keep it simple. As simple as possible. And that's always what's in the back of my mind. So yeah, and part of me just wants to forget about. I think we can just do that. I think if we can just go in here and just go form, subscribe, like input. Now I could, again, do things how I want to do it for this. Let's give this a height. You know, we give it a specific height. Padding. Well, here's the thing. Just do one on each side. And here, oh my goodness. Again, this is all depending on the padding as well too, so I'm not even sure. Whoops. What did I just do? Just did something. Uh, 0.5. Okay. Let's copy that. Let's go into this guy. Paste that in here. And this subscribe form button, let's unlink that, and let's just make it 3 as well. But again, so this padding is what's messing things up. If I go, I gotta unlink this. So if I go 0.5 and I unlink this one, go 0.5, that centers it nicely. And do we have a border around here? Should be none. Because I feel like there is one. Okay, let me just have a quick look at this. A little hard to tell. Okay. What button am I looking for? Oh, this one right here. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I had to do things I'm not super keen on, but that's okay. Okay, subscribe form text. We're going to give this a little bit of a margin at the bottom. That might even be too much. And the form subscribe container. See, I don't know if I should put the spacing on the actual elements or if I should add in like a utility spacer. I'm not sure. Because basically, like, we want this thing. Yeah, I mean. Size, let's say text size 1.5. The line height. Yeah, I think let's just throw in, just for right now. So if we go into this background, let's just make it a little bit darker. That's almost too dark. And hero content. If we change the color here, I think, yeah, not everything changes because some, I think some of these are defined. The heroes one definitely does. I guess the text doesn't have one, which is why it's going white. Well, we can definitely have, what is it, text color white. So we can add to that, and here as well, text color white. And same here. This button is very hard to see. Let's just try an accent color. Okay, I mean, super simple standard hero section, but it's not blowing me away. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if it's because of the way that it's coded in the back end, or just because, I mean, it's very minimalistic. I mean, that's the idea too. The idea is not to have something that is ready to go outside the box, right? It's to have something that is going to be customizable by whoever's using it. And so if you're going to cut and paste this component, you cut and paste it, change your video, change the text, change your colors to whatever you want it to be, change the buttons, remove this or keep it, whatever it is that you want, right? But I mean, you could do some other things too, where you can take this, where we can take this whole form container, and if we wanted to do something kind of cool, we could get it out of the regular flow, stick it down at the bottom. You can give it some spacing on either side. Where that's going to stay at the bottom, regardless of what your size is of your browser. All right, let's just unhook this, right? These layouts are a little bit risky, especially when things like this happen, but not very many people read websites when they squish it up like that, but it's just something to keep in mind. Again, that's something that a user can do, if that's what they feel like they want to do, right? I don't know if it's necessarily makes sense to do it like that and to present it like that. So let's just remove that for now. I don't like how this is just looking here. Yeah, I definitely want to clean this up. What's our padding global? Oh, we got our max length, right? That's the problem. And then we have this padding section here. That's 6. And that's 2. So I don't know. What do you guys think in terms of this being a generic cut and paste component? Does it look... again, try not to look at the colors and everything, and the especially the colors of the buttons. That's really... It doesn't look good, and it's not going to be what it's going to be its final thing. But does this seem like a good enough direction for a hero section? Or, or should it just be the other way that I'm thinking is you can have the whole, where's the whole, just everything on the inside, this hero content here, and we just stick this so that it's in the middle vertically and the middle, like horizontally and vertically, right? And how do we do that? I think the best way to do that would be, I would say that, what do we want to do? trying to think now. We could put it in a grid, and within a grid that we can center things both vertically and horizontally. But this is actually, so if we go to hero content, let me think here for a second. We can make this 100%. I think what I would do, it was take it completely out of this padding. And then we have this hero content here spanning 100% each way. And then we make it into a grid. And it would just be a 1x1 grid. I mean, you got no gaps. I mean, you wouldn't need any gaps. And we would just center everything like this. And then, of course, within the hero content, I would probably have some kind of padding here so things don't get out of control. Something like this. And then I think we have some issues here with like this subscribe. What am I doing? Actually, get rid of that margin. It's throwing all this in a grid. Oh, right. We don't want that. We want this part to be in a grid. So we just have to create. Okay, this is a little bit of a hack job, so we're gonna have to fix this. Undo that. Go in here. Control-Alt-G. There we go. So now this thing is centered, and then if we play it around with, let's go back up here. Right, and there we go. And there we have this section, which everything is going to stay in the middle, regardless of, the size of the screen. So, yeah, does that make the most sense? Let me know what you guys think. Which way makes the most sense? Or again, do we just end up having multiple different components that just vary slightly? Be hero section 1, which just has a title and then it has a subheading and then the buttons, and then hero section 2, which just has a big title and then, a subscribe form. And then one is centered vertically and horizontally, right? The other one is just docked to the bottom of the viewport. And the other one is just, towards the top, right? Just like a kind of a standard website. There's so many different ways you can do things. And that's why, again, thinking of my whole concept of, for these components, quality over quantity. So I want to make sure of that. So we can do it this way. Yeah, I'm trying to think now in the back of my mind. What is the most predominant way that people make big hero sections? Do they have things kind of in the middle? I mean, they do have things usually centered, but is it usually centered vertically as well too? And I don't know yes or no on that one. I mean, there's so many different types of hero sections that you've seen. It can get really, people get really creative with the stuff that they do. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a challenge. It's a challenge to think about how to build these things. And yeah, maybe it's going to be that I'm just going to end up building a whole bunch of different ones, which I don't like. I don't like that because I think that's going against the philosophy, but we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. And maybe the idea is I'll just take the bare bones components that I have and use that to build and to construct the different themes and templates. So the templates would be the ones that are kind of already pre-built, ready to go. And then people can kind of use those ones as well too. So lots of different ways around it, and we'll figure out what's going to work best for us. I think for right now, should I keep it like this or revert back? We'll keep it like this because I know, yeah, I think we're 70% there in terms of me being really happy with this. So, but we're going to leave that one there, and we're going to move on to something else. What are we going to move on to? What other things do we need to do? We need to do pricing table. We need to do team section. We need to do, like, do we need to do a different hero section? Should we do like this, the plain Jane hero section? I feel that's just too plain Jane. And what I mean by that is just your standard hero section, right? Where you have on the one side, you just have, an image, and then the other side is title and then your buttons, right? Just your standard hero section. I don't know. I don't know. It's boring and simple but I don't know. Let's do something a little bit more fun. So tables. This is an interesting thing. I wrote this down as tables. Webflow doesn't have tables, why doesn't Webflow have tables? I don't understand that. You should have a table just like you can have a grid. And you want to make a table, just where's our tables? And I guess the only reason I say this is because if you want to be correct in your semantics when you're doing your HTML, you should, when it's tabular data, it should be presented in a table. Like, it just makes the most sense. And I don't want to have to do an embed to be able to do a table. So why can't I do it? Why can't I draw a table just the same way I can draw a grid? I mean, I know you can draw a grid and use it as a table, which is fine. Unless, can you take a grid and set it as a table in the settings? I don't think you can, but let's see. Settings, tag, div. No, you can't just put it in a table. That makes no sense. Right. Okay, let's go on to what should we work on next, guys? So team page, pricing, testimonials. We can do some kind of table stuff, but use that as a grid. We still need to do a subscribe form as well. I wonder if we should take what we have with this subscribe form and put it in. If we take it and then we put it into its own little section. Hey, Rolando. Greetings from Mexico and greetings from Nova Scotia, from Canada. How you doing today? Hopefully you're having a good one. This thing keeps coming loose. I need to get this a better mic arm for this microphone. I'm starting to squeak as well too. It's a Rode, I think it's called the PSA 1 or whatever, mic arm. It's really good. I've had this for a long time now. It's got to be getting close to 10 years. I don't know. Anyways, starting to get a little squeaky. And get some grease in there maybe. Anyways, right. What are we going to move on to next? Do a pricing table. I think I need to put a little bit more thought into the pricing table. Team page. There's also the native apps as well, like the tabs and then the sliders. Let's go. I'm going to take this thing. Let's take our subscribe form. Let's copy that. And actually, you know what we can do? Let's duplicate this page. And this is going to be subscribe forms. Or let's call it subscribe. Yeah. Okay. So a service section. So that's interesting. So this is where I've been thinking a lot about how to do components for pages that don't really like, or pages or layouts that don't really conform to a specific thing, right? Like, so you're saying a service section. So I totally get it where, if you're some kind of agency or whatever kind of company, you have a bunch of services, but like how you lay out that content can vary drastically. So, and like, I think too, where you say you have, whatever, a software company or you're a web design company. Let's just use that because, a lot of us are web designers. So you have like your different offerings and you're on your homepage and people are scrolling down. It's like, oh, here's this thing I do, a little text and then like an image beside it. So there's so many different ways that you can lay out those services. So I'm just trying to figure out in my mind, what is going to be the best way to create components for that, but without creating like 1,000 different variations of that component to not dilute the offerings of the library. So it's just it's that constant struggle that I'm thinking about how to make sure that it's quantity over quantity, or quality over quantity. But yeah, a service, it's like services as well as almost like brochure things. I always call things when you don't log in the brochure, like of a website. It's like the brochure is what gets you, entices you, gives you the information, and then makes you want to click and like join or whatever and subscribe, whatever the case may be. So I always call that the brochure. And I guess I got that from Shopify. When I used to work at Shopify, the whole website before you'd actually go in and create your e-commerce store, we always call that the brochure. So that's kind of where I get that from. But yeah, like within your brochure, there's so many different layouts, right? So, and I think that's what it's going to be is, at least initially when we first launch this thing, there's going to be the items that you use, that every website uses, right? Navigation, footer, header / hero section, pricing, team, about, testimonials, blog posts, news posts, like all those things. Those things are pretty standard, and I'm hoping like 90% of what people are going to use are going to be already present in those kind of pre-built components. But it's the internal stuff where it gets really nebulous, where it's like, okay, well, how do you actually make a component that's going to be for everybody? And I don't think you can really, which is why things like the Reloom library and other libraries, they have like hundreds of those different things with just the slight variations. And I just like, it's too much for me. I don't like that. But I think that's why having the combination of generic but really well-defined, high-quality components, but pairing that up with themes that are already pre-built, so you can almost take a theme if you want to, and then take those pieces out. Again, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work. We're gonna learn, and we're gonna figure this out together. So yeah, you're in the same situation. Don't know how to make one that works well for most situations. Yeah. I mean, that's why people like us, we have jobs as web designers or developers, because not everything is going to be the same. Every client's going to be different. Every need's going to be different. So, and to be able to think that you can create one thing that's going to do well for everybody, it's just not going to happen. It's just a question of, can we, like the 80-20 rule, right? Can we spend 20% effort in a way that'll meet the needs of 80% of the people, right? So if you can keep that in mind, and then those other 20% of the people that are not covered, then that's where, it's custom solutions or whatever the case may be. So anyways, all that being said, let's get rid of all this stuff that we don't need. And I'm going to have to bring everything out here. And we basically want, oh my goodness, you know what? what's going on here? I'm going to copy this and I'm going to steal it. All right, so this is what we want. Main wrapper, section, padding. Delete this. Right, okay, so section hero, which is not what we want. We want form. Right, we just want this form. We're going to take it and we're going to put it into here. Delete this. And delete this. All right, there we go. So we'll call this subscribe form. I said that like a question. Subscribe form. Okay. You've been thinking about hiring a designer with experience in UX, UI to help with the design of the elements, but I don't know. I wouldn't like to submit an entire salary. Yeah, and not get the results. So can I ask you, what is it that that you're building, that you're thinking of hiring a designer? Because yeah, that's the question. I mean, that's always the thing that I struggle with. For me, being more on the design side, and the partners that I need for the projects that I work for, I need more developers. And it's the same thing. It's like, well, at what point do I need to bring on a developer to help me out on things when I don't bring in enough money yet to justify that expense? But that's where it's nice to partner with people, where you partner with somebody and you just build something together. So we're going to build a company together. So then you're not paying someone cash or salary. You guys are both putting in sweat equity to build something together, right? It's always good with business too. Combining yourself with people that have skills that complement, that one can't work without the other. And that's what I love about business. And it's about building something with other people and for other people, that everyone just can get value from one another. I mean, that's always, I don't know, that's how, when things work best. So you're building your own portfolio to start in my parallel web development business. Currently work at a gas station. Yeah, I love that. You have your job that pays the bills, whatever you need to do. And then you get the necessary skills to create your own thing. So you're starting your web development business, which is awesome. Congrats, by the way. I know you keep plugging away. You'll get there. You'll get there. So, what can I say about this? So are you more into like, what kind of clients do you want to serve? Like, are you trying to look for people that want to build, like websites or like applications or, like mobile apps? I mean, that's the whole thing, like web development. Like it could be a broad thing, right? Like what's your niche going to be? Am I streaming anywhere else? No, I just stream to YouTube. In terms of streaming, like Twitch and stuff, like I've never been on Twitch, so I don't get it. I don't understand it. I understand YouTube, obviously, since I've been doing YouTube videos for a while now with different ventures and stuff like that. And I think now with OBS, you can stream with multiple places. So, Subhan, I have to ask you then, do you think I should be streaming somewhere else? Like, should I be streaming on Twitch? Or I guess where else can you stream? I guess you can stream on Facebook, but I hate Facebook. I'm not going on Facebook, so forget that. And I guess you can stream on Instagram too. I guess lots of different things. Anyways, let me know. But yes, I just stream here on YouTube for now. Vets, barbershops, real estate agents. There's lots of them. Yeah, I mean, so do a lot of those people, do they need actual web development, or they just need almost just like they need their websites? Because I could imagine for vets and barbershops, I guess it would be really cool if you could create websites that, number one, showcase their skills and their services, but then also to have things like online bookings. So I imagine if a vet had like an online booking portal. That would be pretty cool. Same thing with barbershops. I know for me, when I used to have hair, there was once upon a time I used to have hair, and I go to the barbershop, and you just go there and you have to wait for like 2 hours, and they didn't have any kind of system where you can just book people. I think for that particular barbershop, they didn't want people to book. They just want people to walk in anyways, so they get their business that way. And real estate agents, there's lots of stuff that can be done in order to help them ease their whole workflow and automate their whole process, right? Like when a real estate agent, they'll have, obviously they have their own listings, but in terms of how they deal with their clients and how they manage that, if you can help them automate that process and automate their business, I think there's a great potential that can be had there. Anyways, all that being said, I guess what I'm saying is there's lots of different ways that you can tackle it. And I guess the idea too is within your portfolio, whatever you do, just focus on really showcasing how you can bring value to those people. And for me, I wouldn't worry so much about how your website, how your portfolio looks. Because I know for me, I guess the mistake that I've always made in my career is I'd always worry so much about how things look. And while it's important, I think most people really prefer that you can get them the results that they're looking for, or the results that you claim that you can give them, right? So, if it's a real estate agent that says, hey, again, I don't know too much about the real estate world, but hey, I could increase your, how many clients that you can get in contact with or whatever, right? And if you can illustrate that and articulate that, then I think that'll really help you in the early days with getting into success. So not really. I think anyone who uses Twitch is definitely already on YouTube. Yeah, there's this one guy that he has a lot of really good content on YouTube. What's his name? Harris, or is that his first name? Anyways, he's a big Twitch streamer and he does stuff on YouTube and he just has content about streaming. And he does the stream beats, which is really cool, which I used initially at the start of this stream when I used to play music. I used his beats because he had royalty-free music, which is really, really cool. Anyways, he always has this thing, Twitch and YouTube. I don't know if he went back to Twitch. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you want. What I like about YouTube is that everything's searchable. I don't know. I guess you can on Twitch too, but of course YouTube is like Google. And so the idea is, of course, if people search for, how do I build Webflow components or whatever, people can find me that way. So I feel like it helps a little bit more with discovery. And I know for me, my snowball is starting to grow ever so slowly, where every once in a while, somebody will find me, they'll subscribe or whatever the case may be, which is fantastic. But anyways, but yeah. So anyways, that's neither here nor there. Anyways, okay. Right. So our subscribe form. So let's, this is a default subscribe form for people for you to connect your preferred email list. Oh my goodness, that's stupid. Your preferred email client. Email marketing client. Okay, so let's go here and get rid of the text color. And I think we're just going to put this back to form input. And this one here back to form input. And this one here is just going to be back to button. And I think this was just form underscore form. And how could we make this look a little bit So let's take a look at our style guide. Can we go, where's forms? Scroll up here. Let's just have a look. So do these things have... Just trying to think of the spacing. Oh, the form field wrapper has spacing on the bottom. So if we go here, right, I put margin 0. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Okay, so that's our subscribe form. But now there's a problem with our ID because we don't want it to be the same. So I think we're just going to call it subscribe form. So that would make sense because it's not hero. So subscribe form name. And then we have subscribe form email. Subscribe form underscore email here. And then subscribe form name. You generally don't really have to worry about this because a site rarely has lots of subscribe forms. But I ran into issues with one client now that I have, which has one website but has multiple different groups within that website, and they each have their own subscribe form for emails. So they're all connecting to different MailChimp accounts. So it's like, it's annoying. Newsletter form. Are you saying it should be called newsletter form instead of subscribe form? So I think the difference between the two is, yes, okay, so that's what you're saying. So here's my thought process, and let me know what you think about this. So some people, when they have a newsletter, I guess they can just call it newsletter. But subscribe, I think, I could be wrong on this. It could be a newsletter, but it could be something like a marketing form or whatever. So you're subscribing to a list, but it's for a marketing purposes. So I feel like, so this is, that gets to the point of what I was just going to say. So you're saying here, in the end, subscription is for marketing. But I guess the point is subscribe form more generic and more broad than newsletter, right? Like if you subscribe to a newsletter, like a newsletter is a newsletter, but a subscription could be a newsletter, but it could also be other things more than just a newsletter, if that makes any sense, right? So that's why I feel like it has, in terms of hierarchy, it's a little bit more open, more broad. But all that being said, should it be called newsletter then, instead of the subscribe form? I see your point. So, but I don't know whether I should push back on it or not, in the sense that if it's a newsletter, great. But you can subscribe to something that's not a newsletter. And would the user want to call it something different? Okay. I see. Yeah, right. I see where you're going. Too broad subscription could apply like a recurring payment. Right. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Okay. I like that thinking. Okay. Good. Yep. We'll go with that. I like it. For you to connect, like email, like newsletter. This is a default subscribe form for you to connect. Okay, this sentence makes no sense. Subscribe form to connect to your newsletter marketing. Oh God, that's horrible. I'll think of something better later. All this whole content needs to be updated once we actually push this to the actual Piixel Pieces, which will be where is it? When we push it to here with the components, and then there'll be like actual content and information. Right. Okay. So that being said, let's call this, we're going to rename all the IDs. Actually, if we just do it here. I guess we should still call it a newsletter form, right? That still makes sense. That should update automatically, and it's not. Okay, weird. Newsletter dash form name. Subscribe form to connect with your email marketing platform. With your email marketing platform. Email marketing platform. I like it. Thank you very much. Excellent. Oh, I didn't post that thing. That very nice. Thank you very much. Okay, so we got newsletter form and newsletter form name and newsletter form email. Form email. Good. Okay. There's subscribe, join. I think subscribe is fine. And newsletter form. Okay, so let's look at our classes here. Do we need to change anything? No, I think everything's still just our basic CSS that we have from our style guide. It's still a form field, and then form input, form label, and wrapper. No, I think that still works. Although this thing here this ID needs to change to newsletter form. Actually, this is wrong here. This is just newsletter form, not name. I'm thinking name as the first name. Okay. And this is, oh, damn it. What is going on here? Oh, shoot. This is, that's the form. Of course, it's here I'm looking at the wrong area. Under this form settings, yes, that's just newsletter form and then the text field settings. Okay. And this is the ID of the input, right? So that's still correct. Email, name, and the form itself. Okay, good. And this button is subscribing to the form, well, default form, right? And the source is logic. If we want to, whatever the action is going to be, the user, that's going to be the user's, for the user to do, not for me here, especially now as a component. And so what do we do for all these success messages? Let's have a look. So let's go to the form and let's go to the success. And this is going to be this message. I guess it's also going to be dependent on what the actual setting is on the person's marketing platform, ConvertKit MailChimp, whatever, and whether they double subscribe, where they have to verify or it's subscribed automatically. So I guess we'll just say, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing. Like, please check your email. I guess it's I don't know. It's just a custom message. Like, it just depends on what they want the user to do afterwards. So aren't I going to put an area for accepting terms and conditions and privacy policies? So not for this. I mean, the idea for this is just like a very simple, straightforward, like, newsletter. And for the most part, like, I've rarely seen a form where someone's just going to subscribe to a newsletter to have to agree to the privacy policies and terms. And that's really more for when you're actually joining like an application, right? Or like an app, or you're joining some type of, service, right? Even if it's free, where then you have to agree to the terms and conditions of that actual service. But because it's just a newsletter, you're just subscribing to a newsletter. And then you have to deal with the actual spam policies of whatever country it is that you're in, right? And within that, every time you email somebody, you have their policy. You just have to abide by whatever country you're in, right? When you're emailing people. So, and I know within here in Canada, you just have to, when you email somebody, you have to do like a double opt-in, and you have to let them know where they opted in from. And then you have the information within each email that gives them the ability as well to unsubscribe. So don't really need any terms and conditions or privacy for email newsletters. So that's interesting then, is that even if someone's subscribing to a newsletter, that you have to say, do you agree to like submit your email? Like, as an example, like, so let's just go to Shopify as an example. I know if you go in for their blog, where's their blog? It's changed a lot since I used to work on this. Where is their blog? Resources probably, and their blog. Right? Like if you, that's different. That's for starting the thing. Where's the article for the blog and subscribe to the blog? Oh my goodness, what are we looking at? Right here. It's just enter your email and subscribe, right? There's no, are you saying if you go to Shopify right now? So if you go to Shopify right now, and I guess, I don't know if there's a Shopify that is for your locale for Mexico. What's your, for Mexico, the top level domain extension? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Is it just like MX or something like that? But for this one, for Shopify to be compliant, they have to have these things that you have to agree to in order for you to just go into their newsletter. Let me see. Mexico, top level domain. It's .mx. So is there a Shopify .mx? Can I access it, or is it going to kick me to the .com because of my locale? Okay, so if we go here to blog, just hit on any one of these. This is like a free newsletter or something, or subscription to something. Something. I know French, so I know Spanish and French share some similarities. Okay, so here's the subscription form for the newsletter for Shopify, and they're not asking you or us, whatever is visiting, They're not asking for that. So that's interesting. At the end of the page, like if I go in here, let me subscribe. Subscribe. I do whatever. Something's free. Something in 3 days. I don't know what that says. I'll have to learn more about this. Because my gut feeling for my experience, obviously here in Canada, North America, well, obviously Mexico's North America. What am I talking about? Just in the Canada and in the US, you don't have to put in those terms and conditions for newsletter and for email marketing. So I don't know what it's like for other countries. So maybe that's something that I have to really think about in terms of how to make things more localized for different people. That being said, to put in something like that into the form, where are we? Settings. Like we can put in those things here and then people can just take them out, right? So it says in 3 days I'll start receiving emails. Okay, makes sense. So like what we can do is let's go. I have an idea. Let's go to style guide and let's go to our form again. And let's go to checkbox. Let's paste this in here. And where do we want another one? So this could be, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to want to keep this in here, to be honest, in terms of like a terms and conditions in a newsletter subscribe form, because I've never seen it before. But again, that's just me in my locale. So terms and, or like, I don't know, like, do you agree to get emails? I don't know. So we can definitely have different ones of these. But yeah, if the majority of the people that at least that are going to be using this, if they don't have to do this, then yeah, I don't know. But that being said, I do know some people and some places, especially if you're using something like ConvertKit, where there's different check marks that you can have in a form to add like people to have them. Like this is like subscriber count, but it could also be, you know, what are you interested in? And you could check Webflow, web design, whatever the case may be. And then those tags will get added into the, into ConvertKit, into the users, right? So it's another way to segregate your marketing, which is actually pretty cool. So we could almost double that. So, you know, this could be a specific tag. Just putting out ideas here. So tag. Yeah, tag some kind of identifier. And then just option. And then we could have multiple ones of these. Right, what time is it? Oh my goodness, it's 4:51. It's almost time to go. It's almost supper time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Select the topics that interest you. Oh my goodness, I'm getting hot all of a sudden in here. I think someone turned the heat on outside. Ugh. Okay. So this form, let's give it a better name. Let's give it newsletter form, I think option, like option 1. We had newsletter form, right? Newsletter form email. And then we have, oh, we should have it here. Did I put in the label? Where did it go? Newsletter underscore, no, form underscore, oh, come on, option. And put that as the ID. And then we can just basically copy that and have multiple options. And this would be option 2. Option 2. Actually, I like this. I don't mind having this here. And then option 3. Webflow. Ghost. And I don't know, WordPress. Or is it WordPress? I think like this. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay. You may ask me any question. I love questions. How many hours a day do I, in terms of thinking about business, pretty much all the time. I think about this stuff all the time. How many hours do I dedicate to this project? So I would say, like, honestly, the past couple weeks, or even since I've been doing these components on the live stream, I haven't spent as much time as I wanted to because I've been doing things mostly on stream. But now it's probably like a minimum 8 at a minimum. So yeah, and when I'm going to start to ramp up here, it's going to be probably getting closer to 10 to 12 hours. And it depends on the client work. Sometimes my client work, I'll have no time. Like I'll have nothing to do for client work. Other times I'll have to do like 6 hours of client work. And then I have much less time to do work on my project. But generally speaking, from now until the end of the year, until this thing's launched, and then it's going to even be more than that, I'm doing like 8 to 12 hours a day on this. So yeah. And a lot of the stuff too is like there's stuff to do with taxes and stuff to do with just behind the scenes other business stuff. There's all kinds of stuff. So there's lots of things. It's not just sitting down doing Webflow stuff. But I want to transition more to doing pretty much just Webflow stuff as much as I possibly can here in the next 4 weeks. Once I get all the other business stuff kind of settled down and, just settle down basically. There's a lot going on. There's a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Stick around. There'll be some fun stuff and some really good discussions coming up in the next little while. Okay. I think it's actually, I'd love to keep going, but it's been a couple hours now and it's 5 o'clock and I have to go and have some supper. So I think I'm going to leave it here and figure out who turned up the heat because I'm like super hot in here. This is crazy. Anyways, you know what? Don't like whatever time that you can put in to whatever project is you're working on is good. Like 2 hours a day. And if you're dedicated and you're really focused on having really good, like 2 hours of really productive work, that's a lot of time, especially if you're already working full time. This is my job, right? Like, I've worked hard enough in my career at the job that I had at the university when I was working there full time to save up enough money and to get a good group of clients in my back pocket before I quit my job, to be able to sustain myself, right? So imagine if your job that you're working at, you can just transition and work on your own company and your own business, right? So you'd have a whole lot more time in the day. But 2 hours when you already have something else full time, that's a lot of time. And in this field, like web design and getting your own agency or whatever off the ground, it doesn't take much. You don't need to buy fancy computers. You don't need to buy anything. You just have to have an internet connection, a computer, and the patience and know-how to learn as much as you can, as fast as you can, and just to start going out there and figuring out how to get clients and doing work for them, and then start bringing some money. So that's how I learned. It took a while, but yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there. And keep me posted on how your stuff goes. And I'd love to take a look at, if you have a portfolio site, to see how it's going and see how things are going. I'd love to see other entrepreneurs doing their thing and just working hard. And I don't know, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling now. Anyways, yeah, thank you for helping. I really appreciate it. Lots of good help today. Yeah, I'm going to stop rambling and I'm going to go have some supper, spend a little bit of time with the family, and then get back to work. So such is life, all day, every day, but that's okay. Wouldn't have it any other way. That rhymed, but not on purpose. All right, guys, thanks again for everything. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for joining and tuning in. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow for a brand new stream. Have a great afternoon as well.